Hey, I'm Kelsey Stoffaker. I'll be doing the confirmation bias for our cognitive biases. So, what is confirmation bias? So, it's the tendency to process and analyze information in a way that it supports people's pre existing ideas, beliefs, and convictions. So, we only seek out information that supports our ideas and beliefs. And so then we disregard information that may show our idea and beliefs to be false. So supportive information gives us that positive feelings, those positive vibes, because it shows our idea and beliefs to be true. Confirmation bias is also based on our feelings and thoughts, not at all very objective information, kind of yes and no, but it's just the one side of the objective information. And it's almost like when we create assumptions about things. That's where we accept the thing to be true or certain to happen without any kind of proof. So, where in the world is confirmation bias present? We're all people and we all want our ideas and beliefs to be true. We run into confirmation biases all the time. It just happens. I found and I believe that one of the biggest areas that it is politics, because our beliefs in whatever party will guide where we put our attention to and what we believe. It decides what we read about the parties, what we watch about the parties, what we focus on when it comes to certain, topics that they're talking about. Certain news stations and TV stations only present supporting information of, that party and belief, like CNN and Fox. That's a big one. And then it tends to ignore the other stations or information that goes against their political beliefs. Another area where I found confirmation bias present is relationships. Um, People tend to, we may ignore negative traits and only focus on positive traits in our partners because we believe they are the best human being in the whole wide world, even if there is evidence of them, not being so great. Another way, is that if you believe your partner is cheating on you, that's your belief. So you will gather and focus on all the evidence that supports that belief, even if there is no really proof of any unfaithfulness. So the study that I found that supports the occurrence of confirmation, it was done by Rawson, Ireland, and Kujpers. They wanted The purpose of it was to advance the knowledge of confirmation bias in criminal proceedings. Judicial decision makers tend to look at information that will confirm the guilt rather than exonerating information. They wanted to answer that question of, is the nature of the selected additional investigations affected by the initial impression of the suspect's guilt? They hypothesize that participants who believe that the suspect is guilty seek more incriminating evidence than participants who believe that the suspect is innocent. So what they did, their methods, they had 79 law students that participated in the study. They were all presented with an elaborate case file about a young man who is suspected of physically abusing another man. And then they were instructed to determine the suspect's guilt or innocence. Then they were also told that they could order additional investigations into that crime if they wanted to. And then they were presented with a list of 20 possible investigations. Of those 20, half of them were framed in a way that were directed at gaining more evidence about the suspect. And then the other half was framed to gain exonerating information, which either reduce the strength of existing incriminating evidence or gain evidence for alternative scenario. The results, it was crazy, I thought. It's pretty interesting. 46 participants said the suspect was innocent, and 33 participants said the suspect was guilty. The innocent group picked about an average of 5.5 additional investigations. The guilty group picked an average about 4.6 additional investigations. But this is the crazy part. Of that, 57% of the selected additional investigations picked by the guilty group were incriminating nature. So they were looking for the things or the additional studies that would help them to prove that he was guilty, the incriminating stuff. 45% of the selected additional investigations picked by the innocent group were incriminating nature. So they had a lower percentage of incriminating, incriminating investigations, but they picked more additional investigations. So I thought that was pretty interesting. And so the conclusion of it was, that participants who believed that the suspect was innocent kind of looked for information confirming that, that he was innocent. And then participants who believed that the suspect was guilty were more interested in investigations aimed at gathering more evidence of the guilt. And they found that it was well in line with research of other decision-making areas, and that suggested that people tend to look for information confirming their prior beliefs, which is confirmation bias. So to link it back to our class, it's kind of tough a little bit on the frontal lobe, because that's important for higher mental abilities like reasoning. We have a hard time changing our minds and reasoning with others that don't believe what we have to do. So that's a big part that is of confirmation bias. It's like we don't want to waste our time, quote unquote, hearing what they have to say, because it's not what we believe. The next one is top-down processing, which is sequence of events that involves a person's knowledge or expectations. So past experiences and other biases towards things affect how we take in that information and that knowledge. So I think the best way to explain it, to me, I feel like, is when people see pit bulls. Top-down processing makes people assume that pit bulls are terrible and so mean and evil dogs because of how they're just depicted in this world. My pit bull is the cuddliest little thing, and he will lick all over, and the licking's kind of annoying, but he's still a sweetheart. The next one is selective attention. That is the ability to focus on one message and ignore all others. Confirmation bias makes us have selective attention on our beliefs and our beliefs only, ignoring any other thing that could possibly go against what we're so selective about, where we're putting our attention. The next one is the illusory truth effect, which is strengthening association between an idea. So the stronger it becomes, the truer it becomes. So finding information that goes with your belief and increases that belief will make it seem like it's true, even if it's false. And then the more that we look at and only look at the things that support our belief, the stronger that association and that belief will become. And then the last one is perception, which is experiences resulting from stimulation of senses. That involves a process similar to, obviously, reasoning, based on what was in the present or what was present in the past, what feelings or thoughts we felt from before and that we still believe. And it makes us interpret information that only supports our beliefs and will influence. So then therefore that's how it will influence how we perceive things in the world. How to overcome confirmation bias. These are my opinions. I'm just a very open person, though. But be open-minded to different opinions and information. Grow through disagreements with people and be open to what they have to say instead of being closed-minded. You don't have to agree with what they have to say, but just listen. You could learn something. You learn something new every day. The other thing is, it goes with that. Listen to what others have to say. They could have far more knowledge and evidence into your belief or into the other side that could make you help you to see both sides of, that belief or that idea. And there's my works cited. So I hope y'all enjoyed it. Bye.